welcome to the Monday websites meeting. So here we discuss about, so like, I don't think anyone's new. So we'll be discussing, like, the agenda is already, we got few topics. And if you feel that you have any topic to discuss, you can just go to the meeting minutes and add up your agenda and we can have a discussion on it. And feel free to ask if you have any doubts regarding your ongoing work or assignments or anything on any of the websites. And if you don't have access to the meeting minutes, I guess you have, but still, then you can just let me know and drop down your names on the attendees list so that I can guarantee that you have access to it. Okay, I think I will start maybe.
Yeah, sure. And Josh, did Sajjad say he was going to join?
Yeah, he replied as well, and he dropped his name in the attendees list. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice.
Okay, so we'll be starting off with the Monday websites meeting. We discuss about, we do have half a dozen of websites under Layer5 and on different frameworks, Jekyll, React, Gatsby, and we discuss about improvements, enhancements, and issues or bugs over them. So starting off let's first see if there is any new people joining us today. No. Okay, so we'll move on directly to the topics. The first topic being Learn ng designs by Sajjad, which was due from the last meeting. So Sajjad, you want to show your progress on it?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, so I'll share the screen.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
So this will be this section here will be on the footer section of our Layer5 website. So we will move on to the multiple learning paths from here. So coming to that section, when we click on this get started, we'll move to this this page where we can see the 5 multiple paths. So given the tagline, let's get meshy here. So coming down, we can see have an overview of this the overview of the course and some details regarding the course. And we'll give a brief about the labs and blocks here. So this one is just we can ignore it if wanted. I've just given it because it had the reference website that Storybook had a small detail about the creator, so that's why I placed it here. So then comes the footer section. So here I've given a get started. So if you click there, we'll get back to the main session. So coming to each one of them, going to Istio will take us to this page, and we can see the blocks and lab sections here. So I have placed some placeholders. So these are to be filled data. So the same happens for each pages. For example, about link STO console, we need colors of the icons of this Istio linked and console. I need a review from you people about this, the basic structure. So this is I've done till this.
Yeah. Just to have some context about what Sajad is displaying. So this is basically we are working on another subdomain, or let's say a part of our website, that is the learn part, where we'll be hosting the labs and sessions, or all of the Katakoda sessions and tutorials on that website itself. So this is the basic structure or the design for for that part, and the current progress can be tracked at layer5.io/learn-ng, where we are working on the current designs, and these are the new designs that will be introduced. So he's asked, like, he has made this design and the structure, and we'll be looking on to the how we'll be implementing those, and we'll also look on to people who can take up those sections and implement those on our website. So yeah, first of all, we'll go with the reviews part. So I'm not like can you just again go back to the first page, the call out to the learn layer 5 part, Sajad?
Oh, this one.
No, I think the initial one, like basically you showed something like a box or a footer from where you'll get a link to this page.
This one.
Yeah. Where do you think of like adding this section on?
This one will be on the footer section of our homepage of Layer 5 website.
Okay.
I think it's above the project section.
Yeah, so I think we'll have to look into that part first, because just above the footer currently we do have the email subscribe section, and about them we do have the books part. So either to implement it. Yeah.
Actually, it's not on that base footer. It's about that one. Like it will be like this section of when we scroll down to the bottom section, it will be given.
Sajad, this is actually a good example of like when you do the designs, you want to like you can do them inside the existing design file. That way, you won't have to explain the context. You'll be able to give context right there.
Yeah, I just placed it here to just give you guys an idea. That's all.
Yep. Yes,
I'll work on that.
Cool. Good. Yep. While giving it an idea, you're also not giving an idea because it's not in context. So, yeah. And if we follow those conventions and rules about not deleting the existing work, then you should feel fairly comfortable to add new updates because yours will be separate. So, so that's good. So, yeah, I encourage you to jump in more directly. In my mind, this makes sense that like, hey, we're the /learn page. So if you visit /learn today, the Layer5.io /learn, Sajad.
Yeah, can you just open Chrome or the browser and go to the layer5/learn. Hello, Sajad.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible? I guess I am.
Yeah, you are.
Hello, Sajad.
Hello.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Sajad. If you would, can you open up your web browser to layer5.io/learn?
My internet is not stable.
Yeah. So Sajjad, yeah, I don't know. I'm Sajjad. Okay, I don't know if can you hear me now? Because Sajjad, actually, every time that we talk, unfortunately, your internet isn't stable and we can't talk because we can't really hear each other or share most of the time. So we'll have to.
I'm really sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I totally understand. The issue is that if we don't have it though, we can't collaborate. And so this is something for you to give some consideration to changing that situation. Otherwise,
Yeah, I'm trying, but due to this lockdown and all, the network provider, the agent here has some problems fixing that. That's the reason. So we are planning to place that thing, I think, about this section before this one. So you have told me before that some lazy fellows are not won't scroll through the navigation bar. So we'll put it in the bottom section. So
yeah,
I think it will be somewhere in between this.
yeah, quite possibly. That's about right. The thought has been that it would probably go into the, if you click on learn in the mega menu in the nav bar, the thought is that that section that you have would probably go onto the learn page. So, Sajjad, I suspect you can't hear me.
It's getting bright.
Gotcha. Yeah, the challenge is I can't tell when you can hear me and when you can't. So good designs, there's some feedback that can you hear me now, Sajjad, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise it's not worth giving the feedback again. So no, it's not supposed to go on the main page. It's supposed to go on /learn. So there are three, so maybe you and I haven't been over this a whole bunch of times, but we've been over it a couple of times. There's 3 different types of learning materials today:
Okay.
books, workshops, labs. We're trying to bring a learning path, I think is the name that we're landing on. And that would be a 4th section, or it would be a call out in, like, the main one would probably be under /learn. So if you navigate to the learn section of the website, okay. So I don't know that it's fruitful, or rather that it's productive to give this feedback, Sajjad, while you can't hear. So we could do this and Sajjad could watch the recording.
It would be helpful.
Or we can do one thing, Lee, you can just if the you have made the changes on the Figma file, then Lee can share it and we can note down the suggestions into the meeting minutes if you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Lee, can you just.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you mean verbalize them right now? Yeah, actually, I'll give them verbally, and then Sajjad can rewatch this. I've given these same sets of feedback a few different times. But let me screen share, since Sajjad can't hear that. I'm asking to navigate to this other area. So there's more to be done than what I'm about to articulate. But just to kick us off and to give the learning paths a landing place, that probably, one of those landing places is here on /learn. three different types of, we've actually been over this, I don't know how many times on this particular call. So the mock-up that Sajjad has, that horizontal section, probably, you know, fits fairly well into.
So are we having a separate one now?
Yep, which was the first thing that you'd shown. That looks pretty good, right?
Lee,
Sajjad,
actually, are we having a separate site for this now?
No, we don't have it currently. We are having a page that is the learn /learn on the same website.
Yeah, so I was asking if we that we can go to that section from the main Layer5 website, right?
Yeah.
So do I need to change something in this?
yeah, so I think the confusion is over the word that's being used, website versus homepage, I think. So yes, it may very well be the case that on the homepage, we would have links to resources, you know, to the learning paths as a resource, also to the books and the workshops and the other interactive labs. I don't know that we have a specific call out for that learning today. And so it may make sense to add another section on the homepage. I'm unconvinced at the moment, and it's probably an easier discussion to have to just say that, well, on the learn page, for sure, we want to list, have a section that points people to learning paths. So for sure here, in terms of how it shows up on the homepage, let's hold off on that conversation until we're successful with this smaller consideration here. Because to be frank, like, we're actually not being very successful at all. Like, is just for a variety of different reasons, but we're sort of stuck, I think. There really just needs to be a section. The one that you have looks pretty decent. We should try to fit that in here. If it's going to have a black background, then it needs to not be placed in between here and here, or here and here, or here and here, because it's just black, 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 black. So we either need to change the background of the design that you have or fit it in somewhere else. We just need to make sure that the page sort of flows smoothly. Yeah. So that's one, so good. So people start, like, in context of getting to learning paths, they would see that there are learning paths here. They would click on your first design, go into what becomes the overarching page for learning paths. So the start of learning paths is here, kind of the overall description of how many paths there are and what people can learn. The paths will not be, they will be something similar to this, like mastering a service mesh for developers, maybe mastering a service mesh for operators, as examples. The content of which will be, a learning path is comprised of a few courses. Each course is comprised of, you know, any number of labs and maybe a few quizzes. So the information architecture is important to consider as you do the designs, because Sajjad, the design that you have right now is really, like, it shows that users would click on a given learning path. And at the top, what you were showing is that there's Meshery plus Istio, or Meshery plus console. And those are pretty, but they're wrong. Like, in terms of the information architecture, they're ignoring the information architecture. And
Okay.
And so the thing that we're actually looking for on this site, like, is it's really just a copy of Storybook's tutorial site. Again, it doesn't have to be that much different. Otherwise, we're going to sort of like stalemate on doing nothing here. So that's why we want to pick off small little items to move forth with. And so Anita actually has one that she had done, which highlights how the design that you have right now is at odds with the information architecture. So by this, I mean that if you go into Figma, so let me stop sharing and reshare. The reason that it's a nice looking design, but the reason that it doesn't work is because people will have a learning path it's something like I'm a developer, as an example, like I'm a developer. How do I learn how to use service meshes the best that I can? And it's not the core learning, the path itself isn't like, how do I use Istio the best? And how does Istio specifically work? And how do I use that? It's no, it's more like it's, oh, excuse me. As a developer, how do I write my services to work very well on a service mesh? So these are kind of, this is an example of a generic content structure. So a learning path, a course, individual sections throughout. Here's mastering service meshes for developers is the name of the learning path. One of the courses in there is like securing the service mesh. Okay. And learning MTLS. And the way that it would work is that people, as they go through this path, they can decide like, oh, I would like to learn how to master a service mesh, how to secure it, how to use this specific technology to secure it. And the mesh that I'm interested in is console. So the way that developer will take the course, they will take it using the console labs. So the console lab for mutual TLS, the console lab for filtering traffic, and they have the choice of taking it for Istio or Kuma or the rest. But Anita, that's where this other switcher comes in. And so Anita, is your work up here? Because it would be good to show that and to demonstrate how these are different.
Yeah, I did make a push just now. It has not been merged yet, but it actually has that part on it.
Nice. Okay. Let's take a quick look. Let's see if one of the previews for that build is there. Maybe it might be slightly old if you just did it, but so it's easier to comprehend this, I think, in context of the overall site. So remind me, are the pages that we're doing, are they under /learn ng?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anita, your changes then would show up under, okay, cool. So, one thing that'll help for all of us is to take that first learning path and try to use it as the example structure. And I think that'll help us sort of mentally flow a little bit better. But this would be, I guess so this needs to be updated and changed. Like it doesn't need to be, this feedback isn't to Anita specifically, but just like to all of us and to Sajad as you design the flow by which people navigate through here, is that there's this intermediary section that's probably not that helpful. Would be like an overview of the learning path itself. Maybe helpful, but we may as well just drop them into like the very first piece of content, potentially. Anyway, the point is, as they start the course and they start to learn about how to use mutual TLS and how to do traffic filtering, such and such, and they start to look through it, well, they can either look through it from the lens of console or Istio or what have you, but the learning path is the same. It's just for the labs that you're doing, what tech are you using? So, cool, good.
Hi, Lee. I'm audible?
Yep.
Okay. So, sorry, I have joined after a long time. It's the
We're still in the same place, Nikhil.
Yeah, we have progressed a bit for the overview part after the PR from Chinmay. I guess he is currently working on the individual pages. And from this week onwards, I'll start working on the courses overview page. That is the intermediate page which you were referring, which might not be needed. But considering the pattern which we are planning to have, like the path structure, like I created an intermediate design. I'll share the link. It's in the Figma only.
Okay, I can share the Figma again if that helps.
Yeah, that would be it. As you scroll to the right. Yeah, the one that is selected, right? Yeah, that would be the intermediate page in which we will have the courses listed within a particular path, and at the top would be a section which would highlight how to set up Meshry, which would basically point out to the pages of Meshry, of installing and setting up Meshry, how it should be. And then we'll have the respective courses, which would be securing the service mesh or others that we have. For a few examples of courses. And after clicking on either of the courses, we will go to the overview page that we have already completed from, which you opened just previously. Yeah, the yellow one. Yeah, this would be the page which the user will go after clicking on either of the courses. And from then, when he clicks on the get started button or either of the option in the content, then it will be redirected to the either of the page. And we will be using a default service mesh, which can be HTTP for the timing as we develop, but it can be changed. We just need to update a variable on the that we note there. And after the user directs to starts from one of the courses, he can then switch the service mesh from the course page itself. Like as per the storybook design, the part which Anita has added, the service meshes you can learn, the section that was added, that should be a static one, but should only highlight what all service meshes we have. Because as per the design storybook has, they don't allow a switch ability in that page. We will be able to switch to service meshes from this page, which would highlight the course, the data. And when the user clicks on either of the service meshes, the course would switch to the page of that particular service.
I think, yeah, nice. I think I followed that. Nikhil, that sounds pretty good. That sounds about right. One thing that we can do that I've done a bad job of in the past is helping us look at things using a prototype. Sometimes I realize that putting together a prototype might be a little bit challenging, or it might take a moment to get used to. But just even, I'm saying this aloud, even for myself, that there is an existing prototype of some of these pages that I think help us all collectively understand how things flow. And so that's nice. So yeah, I hadn't looked at this particular flow.
This was done by Augustine long back. And once he completed that, after that, I opened few of the issues and updated them with the respective design. And only then Chinmay completed that PR for the overview.
Gotcha.
We have some progress, but Chinmay is blocked with his college work, so we have a bit slow there. And I was involved with my office work, so
yeah, sure.
We didn't have much. We don't have actually much contributed to the learned section of our site as of now.
So speaking of which, so this curious individual, Anita, keeps showing up to the community and really engaging deeply. And I'm poking fun at Meshmate Anita, who is, well, I don't know, I think just, I'm assuming her PR is probably pretty close to being merged for these items. And so to me, that signals that Anita is just, has nothing to do. That maybe, and so second of all, we should, if we're going to have any picture, we should put Anita's picture. We should swap mine out for Anita's. It's, first of all, it's a better looking picture. Second of all, I think, I know this is probably an old statement, but this is pretty the way that this is designed. It's probably the case that we will, that we won't have those.
That was just designed following the storybook page.
Okay.
They had that section, but I don't think we might not require. It might come in handy in future once we grow more granular.
Yeah, really.
And we have more courses.
No, yeah, and it might be the case that that any one of you, any one of you end up creating some of the learning content itself. And so, yeah, what an awesome way to get your name out there, or to get people more familiar with you and the works that you've done. So we definitely shouldn't throw it away. Like but so Nikhil, I didn't mean, so to take one step further on what you were saying, Nikhil, I wonder, is there a specific area that you consider as ready to go, that either Anita or
okay. So once we have only two major parts left for our current development, which is the table of contents. Once we have that part, then we can start actually writing courses that we can actually start setting up one of the learning paths with one course and copy the Catacoda Labs link and start creating one complete course. So at that time, once we have that table of content ready, we can actually break up things to allot small items to people so that things go much faster.
Nice. Is the table of contents you're referring to, is that this format?
This one is the easier one. The other, the table of contents which I'm actually referring to, is at the top page. If you scroll a bit up, a bit towards the right. Yeah, the center page, just above. Yeah, this one.
Gotcha. Okay. This was the one that, well, I forget his name, but he lives in Florida.
Samir was working on, but yeah, he didn't went through to the completion.
Okay. So I don't know if this is appropriate for Anita to maybe take a look at, or if this is
not sure. Like, it depends upon her, because it requires a bit of GraphQL knowledge, like a good GraphQL knowledge, because data will be transferred from one page to another, and we need to sort it accordingly to get that table of content. So yeah, like Chinmay is working upon, as far as I know, the last conversation I had with him. But now, since I'm a bit lesser occupied from my office work, I will start focusing on this item and see how much we can progress faster.
Okay. There might be another, I don't know, you mean, there might be another item here where, like, this page itself, if we get, or if someone starts to, if Anita maybe or other starts to put together sample content, stuff that isn't necessarily real at all, but is basically like this section and reuse of these types of components, such that the skeleton of what a first course might look like is here. I don't know if that helps or not. But.
Yeah, that might be helpful to continue with. Like, we can initially have all the courses to have the same page. We can just simply copy paste the file to all of the respective learning paths. And for the timing, we can have the pages to be same. And for a sample, we can have that page ready, because that requires this few of the components to be imported, and which is the code block component, and above would be probably an image in the sample one, but that would change to the Catacoda video. component.
Gotcha. Okay.
Also, like since we are slowly approaching, I just had a thought, like, is it possible that for a Katacoda lab, it can be broke up into different videos? Like, how will we get the data for it?
Yeah. Wait. Let me. I think the answer is yes to the first thing you asked, but that. Let me rephrase it. Were you? You said, hey, can the content inside the Katacoda labs, could those be broken up into different videos? And yes, that we can, that there are no videos in there today, but we could make videos of those. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you're saying that, hey, a lot of the Katacoda labs are, they're somewhat shallow in nature, that they're kind of the initial, like getting set up with Istio, getting set up with console. And those might be the ones that are repeated at the top here. Is that what?
Okay, so what I meant was, suppose we have a course securing the service mesh, okay, and inside that we have multiple chapters which would be filtering traffic and mutual TLS, for example, and that would individually have each service mesh which the user could continue with it to learn it. Suppose the user continues with Istio lab, so each of those are a separate video or a category session that we could link, or that would be a static data, like a text file that we need to create.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are iframed in today to, you know, the places that they're being used. And yep. I think, yes, I think is the answer. You have to rephrase it though, if I'm not answering your question.
Okay, so going directly, how will we get the data for each course? Suppose mutual TLS
Yeah.
or filtering traffic.
Yep. Good. Yep. Yeah. Good question. So, a lot of it, I see. I mean, a lot of it isn't, we have to go write it, is part of the answer. Part of the answer is that, in writing them, some of it is like taking the content of Meshry docs and curating it to be, curating it here. Like, yeah, I mean, the answer really is that we have to go write the content. A lot of it we've given talks on before, or we've given workshops on before. Like one of the initial ones, probably the best answer that I could give you, or like an answer that provides immediate satisfaction, is there are 3 workshops that are already published and have a number of, like this workshop is basically is something of a course. Inside the course there are individual labs, and so this is kind of the structure of one course. This is the introduction to Istio. So let's say that the learning path was mastering Istio. Okay, so it's a 2-course thing. So then inside the first course, it's the introduction to Istio. Okay, and it has, 8 labs or what have you. All right, and then the second course is advanced Istio, which we have a workshop on as well, and it has 7 labs within it. So this is about as close as it gets today to like, hey, where can we just source the content for the learning paths from? Now, okay, fine. This basically works for like a mastering Istio learning path. The challenge with that is that, of the feedback that I was providing to Sajjad, it's like, well, okay, good, but don't we want to have a mastering service meshes and then let the people choose, let the learner choose, did they want to learn Istio or console? So yeah. So, okay, where's the content for the other ones? Well, there's content for Linkerd, Linkerd Service Mesh Workshop. So these are all three of these. So this is a Linkerd Service Mesh Fundamentals with Linkerd. There's not an advanced Linkerd. So, but there's 3 workshops today that have all these labs that make for good fodder for, it certainly wouldn't be wrong to use one of these as the example set of content.
Got it. Okay. Within those lab folders are those text data, text
Yep,
data
it's
with
all,
steps written all over. Okay.
yeah, all marked down. Yeah.
Then it will be easier to migrate as well, because
Yeah.
ultimately those will be on the Excel.
Right. Yeah, easier to move over. Each of these are accompanied by a set of slides as well that are also in HTML. So when we get into like hardcore course creation, you know, like a hardcore trying to make the courses themselves and trying to, we'll certainly, oh no. Oh, geez. I didn't realize this site was down. That's too bad. Anyway, there's a site that has a bunch of slides that will walk people through that content. And so,
Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. So for start, I will like whoever takes up the task, I will ask them to check on that GitHub repo and migrate the data accordingly for each lab.
so Kashambi, refresh me. So thank you for volunteering to pick up the REST API issue. Kashambi, maybe can you remind us of your focus again, or of maybe whether or not you're inclined to or ready to try to take on some React-based things? Or, and it doesn't, yeah, I mean, in terms of the content that we were just talking about, actually, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to know much React or much Gatsby. It's more about taking Markdown from one place and rejiggering it to fit over here. So Kashambi, I guess the question is, have you used Gatsby before? Okay, cool. So Kashambi, okay, that's great. We'll have to, if you do start to work on it, C Nikhil, okay, good. So you're and so we'll talk at you next time. We'll get you to talk next time. but for now, that's great. Like this issue, I think you'll be quite successful with. It's a rather small in scope issue. Anushka just asked that she be removed from here because of other things that she has going on. She had a lot of good ideas. Actually, she was too zealous with her ideas, like too many and changing too much, which I think caused her to ultimately unwind and sort of lose her way with what she was trying to do. And it's really just these 2 things. It's fairly small. But cool. Okay, good. So Josh, you know.
Yeah. So for the like major feedback on the learn part, so what will be we'll be waiting for the table of contents to be finished, and then we can assign someone, or maybe Khushambi, if she is interested, to the feeding of the data part.
Nice.
So moving on to the, thank you for the confirmation. So moving on to the next topic, I think the volunteer one is discussed already. And so I think I skipped one. So that one is from the merged PR by Haridarshan, on which we spent around 50 minutes last meeting about breaking down the internship sections. So I don't know what Lee wanted to discuss over.
Oh, okay. No, cool. I didn't realize it had been merged.
Yeah.
But it was a nice PRLE. Like you can take a look into it. I think it fulfills the job which we want on breaking up the section, and we can easily have new pages for different programs linked.
That's great. Okay.
It even fulfills the requirement of SEO. Like we have individual pages as well, but we have drop down for each program.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. It's great. Yeah, that's great. Cool.
Okay, then moving on to the next topic, it's the Get Nighthawk. So there have like, if you can just open up the Get Nighthawk repo. Lee. So there's one guy named Nikhil who has been working, like he's identifying issues by himself and taking up them and solving them. So like I appreciate his work. I tagged him, but I don't think he's present today. So basically the required CSS changes were done once by I don't remember name, Ritesh, but afterwards there was an PR by Anita, and I think that reverted most of those changes. So I asked, so he mentioned that he would make those changes again, like the initial, the CSS changes or the spacing changes in the upper part. But yeah, the footer has already been refactored now, and once this latest PR from Nikhil gets merged, so it would be refactored for the mobile view as well. And so like the below part is done, and for individual docs part also it's done. So I was looking on to the issues that are already present on Get Nighthawk. So basically one of them is the FAQ question answers, and another one is multiple burger menu. So the FAQ question answers needs data. I don't think there's anything else remaining for it. For the multiple burger menu, I've already, like there is a Nitish Karthik was already showed his interest and has taken upon that issue. So that's most of what we have done for Get Nighthawk in the past week. Yeah, and so if you can just go to the website, so I can just guide you through the changes that have been made. Yeah, so if you can, so here the extra spacing was removed already, but due to another PR that reverted, so that won't take much time. It was just 2 to 3 lines that it would be done sooner, or I'll do it myself. If we scroll down a bit more, yeah, so these graphs have been like it were cropped before, that have been done nicely by Nikhil Sharma. And if we still go down, so yeah, these 4 sections, they were not aligned with, like the headings were not aligned to each other side by side. So they are now aligned, and the paragraphs are also aligned to the respective neighbors. And then if we move to the FAQs part, so the opening and closing, so it was like first of before it was just you can just open up, but you cannot close up any FAQ. That is done by Nikhil as well. And if you go still down to the footer, then These updates are made by Anita. And for the mobile view of this footer, Nikhil has already submitted a PR that will improve the mobile view as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's really coming along. It's really like one thing to consider is that, well, I guess as some of the white space is eliminated, some of what I'm about to say will be assuaged or like won't be as important to track, and that is that there might we might want to bump up the font here and here, like the size of. Granted, it is a footer, and so it's not the most critical area, but and it's okay that this stays fairly tiny, but this.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. I'll just ask Nikhil to add it up in his own PR.
Okay, nice.
And if we go to the docs part also, so for the docs also, same, the drop down opening closing issue has been fixed, and the word wrap for the content has been fixed. Apart from them, there are not any more changes for docs part for now.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, I mean, this is great. This looks like there's a couple, like this is just, some of these are like minor things, but if so we do have a link to the GitHub up here. Okay, good. So that's prominent. And so my concern is that any links that we have down here that aren't represented more prominently, I think as a user myself, I would likely just ignore these, because when they're so small, it's like, that's just like that's the legalese, or that's the whatever it is. I should just ignore it because it's so darn small. And so like it might be the case that you might consider bumping these up and bumping these up.
Yeah, the fonts as well as the icons needs to be scaled up.
Here's a small item. It's a really small item, but when in the FAQs, when the transition effect that's excellent. As it was transitioning for the first time, and I was seeing it for the first time, I thought, oh, that's pretty, and okay, and the text is going to be coming into view, or the text is starting from a lower opacity going to full, and and actually it isn't. It's just a very light gray, and I wonder if we can't bump that, deepen the color a bit, so that it's more legible.
Okay, we'll take care of it as well.
And then other than that, like it's mostly the cleanup of the content. Oh, one thing we might think about. Oh, there should be a full image, a full logo that, like, when you're excuse me, when you're here, it's like, oh, hey, is this a flock of nighthawks flying or something? Oh, hey, are these two things, like these two things are so close and sort of look so similar in size, and that is. So what if? Well, okay, what else could we do? Well, there should be. This is great, by the way, how you can just nav like that. Like this guy. So we've got the actual lettering now, and we've got lettering here. I don't know if this is off. I think this is independent lettering, not necessarily off to the side. Okay, so if you might want to take liberty to, one, we would consider that we just wouldn't use this font. We would use the actual logo lettering, and then that two. If we
we can just replicate the projects get Nighthawk page on the Layer5 website.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Oops, that's the wrong page. Yeah. Right, because then even if you end up having this logo and a smaller logo here, it's different enough that it's like, okay, that's the big one. It's like, it doesn't look like it's a pair. It's like two of the same. These two things are flying right next to each other and part of the same group. It's like, no, there's a big logo, there's the representation, and then here's just this ongoing, it becomes distinct from one another.
Okay.
Nice. One thing that this is just it looks like the font didn't take hold here, but this is on the about page. Small little items outside of this. This is great. This is exactly what we need to be able to go shake down the Googlers and the Red Hatters that are focused on this. They've been asking actually, so.
Okay, I'll do a font check for the entire set. Like I'll go through every page and make those things as well. Do those things.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, moving on to the next topic, that's just a reminder to everyone to use discuss.layer5.io, the discussion forum. And yeah, please go ahead.
No, yeah, I don't think, yeah. And so Elizabeth isn't here, so we'll maybe hold off on that discussion. There's a blog post that's up for review that I haven't been able to review, but if anybody has feedback, otherwise we should get this published fairly shortly.
So I looked it from, like, I looked at the abstract, but I didn't find any problems or something that needs to be changed. But I have not read it, like not proofread it. So maybe after that we can just, so coming on that blog post, we already have other 2 PRs for different blog posts there.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're that's great.
The buff protocol one, I think. That's,
I'm familiar with that. Okay. Yeah, there's that one. And I think Anita has 1 or 2 in the works. One thing about this is that we can't do this.
yeah, it doesn't, the green. Are you talking about the green?
Yeah, I mean, to Nikhil, this probably looks, just fine.
For me,
That green is not ours. That green is not ours.
Okay, but to the rest of us, I might have a psychotic breakdown if I have to keep staring at it. Like it's just.
That is okay. So for my safe side, I would say that is not designed by me. So
Okay.
at least that green is not my green, but someone else's mistake.
Okay.
But that green would look same to me if I would say, yeah. So I would approve it. No problem.
Nice. Well, I don't know that this is for you guys as much as the rest of them, but there's a CSS class that will add a shadow. And in this case, it's like, well, that works well. I mean, it actually doesn't work well right here. It doesn't work for any of the pictures, apparently. So, but there's a CSS class that doesn't have these either. So, but yeah, good. I think that's a wrap. I mean, Josh,
yeah. So basically, that's all. There was a topic, but that's just information about that. The installation instructions for Meshery were fixed on the Layer5.io. That was like something regarding the Kubernetes I saw. So basically, that's a wrap, and we are like
one
yeah,
item
please
we
go ahead.
have. So Lee, there is an open PR for the partners page, and it requires some data from here.
Okay, on the components page.
On the partners page, like we have open PR. If you go to layer5.io,
Oh yeah,
Layer5 repo.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, yes, damn it.
Like to progress with it, we can do one thing is we can comment out the code and merge the PR so that the PR is not closed automatically due to by stale bond also.
That'd be great. Yeah, let's do it. We should also take a note that so we don't forget about it, that like I'll take a note. I need to go fill in the content.
So similar to that, there is one, the when should I implement service mesh section.
Yeah, there's that one, and then there's a couple that like they're really cool, and when we should absolutely get them posted. It's been finishing off the details has like the last mile has held us up. I just realized like I'm tardy to a call with a couple of CNCF TOC members. I have to go, but yeah, but those outstanding ones, they aren't easy answers just because they'll require a little bit of focus, but we should absolutely get them done. So.
Okay. So yeah, so I think if there isn't anything else from anyone, so that would be a wrap for the today's meeting. We are like nearly on time, just 4 minutes past, and we have completed almost all topics. And it was like, for the learned perspective, we had a fruitful discussion. So see you all in the next Monday's call, and as well as on other respective calls where you are focused on. So goodbye.
Thank you, Josh.
Have a
Yeah.
nice week.
Bye all. Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
Nice to see you all. Bye, guys.